Analyzing the effects of inflation on financial management practices. Inflation, the sustained rise in prices over time, makes it more difficult for both consumers and businesses to stay financially stable. For businesses, inflation raises the cost of labor, materials, and daily operations. For consumers, it weakens purchasing power and reduces overall spending. According to the International Monetary Fund, global inflation reached 8.7% in 2022, forcing businesses to recreate budgets, manage cash flow, and raise prices. With these challenges, both individuals and companies must learn how to adapt their financial practices in order to maintain stability and resilience. To begin with, inflation greatly influences how businesses manage their finances. Rising costs affect budgeting, cash flow management, and investment planning. As the IMF in 2022 explains, high inflation can lead to a decline in the real value of financial assets, making it more challenging for businesses to maintain their financial stability. This means that companies need to rethink where they allocate resources and how they handle long-term investments. Bloomberg in 2022 also reported that investors may shift their portfolios towards assets that historically perform well in inflationary environments, such as commodities or real estate. These examples show that financial managers must be flexible in adapting strategies to protect assets and maintain profitability during the times of high inflation. In addition, inflation impacts individuals and the overall economy. Households, higher prices reduce buying power, forcing people to cut back on spending and focus only on essential needs. Low-income families are especially affected because a large portion of their income goes to necessities such as food, fuel, and electricity. For businesses, raising prices risks losing customers, while cutting costs may affect product quality or employment. On a wider scale, inflation disrupts resource allocation, and central banks often raise interest rates to control it. However, this can slow economic growth and may even lead to a recession. These challenges highlight how inflation places pressure not just on individuals and businesses, but on the entire economy. Furthermore, inflation has led to noticeable changes in consumer behavior, particularly in the Philippines. The Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas in 2021 reported that while households expect higher spending on basic goods and services, overall consumer spending growth has slowed. Families are adopting stricter budget practices and prioritizing food, electricity, and transportation costs. Non-essential purchases are reduced, and people are becoming more cautious with their money. Although these adjustments help families cope in the short term, also affect businesses that rely on consumer spending and, in the long run, influence the country's economic growth and stability. In conclusion, inflation creates serious challenges for individuals, businesses, and the wider economy. Businesses face higher costs and must adjust their budgets and investments, while individuals experience reduced purchasing power and adapt stricter financial habits. These changes, in turn, influence economic growth and stability. While inflation cannot be fully avoided, its negative effects can be managed through careful planning, smarter investments, and prioritizing essential expenses. By learning to adapt and make informed financial choices, both households and businesses can remain resilient and prepared for the uncertainties brought by inflation. inflation.